thank you for being willing to be part of this. As you know, Pastor Brent asked Edna and Linda and myself to head up this day of prayer, and so this little video should help lead you through this. Thank you so much for being part of this. As you may remember, Pastor Brent has been teaching us that prayer is a conversation with God. It's more than just asking. So we will be following some of the patterns that he's been teaching us. Adoration, supplication, listening, thanksgiving. We're going to begin our time of prayer with adoration. You'll see a video. It's a clip from God of Wonders, and it's about 2 or 3 minutes. After that clip, please pause this video and spend some time in adoration and worship and thanking God for who he is. Here we go. I hope that was a blessing for you. Now we're moving on to the next section, confession and contemplation. We are going to listen to what God has to say to us from Psalm 37, 1-7. You people can read this, seek to listen to what God is saying to you, then pause this video and spend a couple of minutes in silent contemplation and confession, talking with God and letting him speak to you. Go ahead. Now we're going to move into the phase of intercession. This we will divide into 3 sections. Then it's going to be followed by spiritual warfare and a time of thanksgiving. So the time spent in intercession will be the biggest part of the prayer time, and then followed by the other two aspects. So just kind of arrange your time so that you can fill in the hour that you're going to be praying. Here is a list of the first list of items, which will be followed by a second list of items for you to pray for, and then pause between each of them. Then after you've prayed for the second list of items, keep the video paused while you pray for the requests that are in your hearts. Share them with one another if there's more than one of you. Then once you've finished that time of intercession, you can click on this video and start it up again, and we will move into the spiritual warfare. Here's the first picture of requests. Now, here's a second set of requests. Another aspect of prayer that Pastor Brent has been teaching us is spiritual warfare. Let's listen to what God says about spiritual warfare. Please pause this video and read together these verses from Ephesians 6. Then start up the video again. Let's look at who these enemies are that we're to be fighting against. First of all, Paul uses the phrase principalities and powers. In chapter 1, God exalts Jesus above all principalities and powers. This refers to every form of authority in the universe. Since this is a very general expression, Paul explains who he means by principalities and powers. He first mentions rulers of this world. The Greek word is kosmokratoros. Then he mentions pneumatica in the heavens. These are spiritual beings aligned with Satan. In other words, we are in a battle against ungodly worldly powers as well as ungodly demonic powers. Then he encourages us to put on the armor of God, and in verse 18, he tells us how we do all of this, and it's through prayer, and that's what we're doing now. So why is this important in prayer? Let's imagine two armies in conflict. If the soldiers of one army are not even aware how the enemy is attacking them, how effective will that army be? What are their chances of being defeated? How is the enemy attacking us right now? Do you know? There are many ways, but the biggest concern needs to be how he is misleading our children. Over half our children will leave the faith before they graduate from high school. Our children are so precious, but many are being ensnared and led astray. So, what do we do? Here's a video that talks about one of the influences that leads our children astray.
I want to see a child in every public school in America who is trained as a witness for Jesus Christ.
When you send that child off to school today, you're sending them into a pagan society.
And the studies are showing that there's virtually no discernible difference between the church and the world. At what point is Southern Baptists going to rise up and say, enough is enough.
Whatever we once were, we are no longer a Christian nation.
We've got to do something different. The schools are failing.
And I would go to 6 or 7 days a week, not just Monday through Friday.
You're not going to be painting, okay? You're going to be writing down whatever comes to your mind when you hear the word gay or when you hear the word lesbian.
So nothing's right or wrong
There's
in
no
this
right.
either?
That's right.
They are stealing our children. But because they are leaving the body of the child with us, we don't even know it's happening.
If I had my way, government education would be brought to a halt.
Trying to fix public education is like trying to teach a pig how to dance. You get dirty and the pig gets mad.
Turning your children over to total strangers and having those strangers work on your child's mind, it's a mad idea.
Public schools have become a criminal enterprise.
Parents are willing to admit that there are these problems and yet believe that their children will somehow escape. They won't.
And it may have taken a school shooting to wake us up to see the danger, but that's a very small danger compared to all the other things that go on that can destroy our children.
A teacher is in trouble for bringing a religion into his classroom, but should he lose his job?
When we go into a public school, we have to leave God at the door. It just came to the point where I couldn't do that anymore.
Jesus said, build your house upon the rock, but the foolish man refused the words of Christ, would not build their education systems on the fear of God, on the words of Christ.
Everything exists to proclaim the glory of God. And the one place where we send our kids 7 hours a day is a place where God's name can't be mentioned. It's not indoctrination, it's insanity.
Please pause the video and pray for children in our public schools. Pray for your children, for your grandchildren. Pray for children in our church. Ask God to protect our children and to give us wisdom and victory in this area. Pause now. Thank you again for participating. If you have time, continue in prayer for other aspects of this spiritual battle. The persecuted church in over 100 countries around the world. Maybe you might want to pray for the secularizing influence of Hollywood, the anti-Christian news media promoting values that are opposed to Christian values. Canadian legislation. Maybe you want to pray about legislation that seems to be making it illegal to teach some of the Christian values. Finally, spend some time in prayers of thanksgiving. May God richly bless you in this time alone with Him. Thank you.